The evolution of the smartphone as a disruptive breakthrough is documented on the cell phone timeline. Personal digital assistants, PDAs, digital cameras, and portable music and video players have all been disrupted in its progress. The rise of smartphones has also impacted the appeal of laptop and desktop PCs. The transfer of hardware innovation into software gadgets has been the underpinning of the accumulation of smartphones' disruptive power. Furthermore, the externality impacts of increased speed and ubiquitous availability of mobile internet at the reducing cost fueled its evolution force. In contrast to the evolution of the light bulb, the smartphone has been chatting with a number of distinct goods. In fact, software-based user interface technologies like as multi-touch were critical in the evolution of smartphones. The significantly superior usability of the iPhone's multi-touch-based user interface enabled Apple to disrupt the market for keyboard-centric design, causing Nokia to go bankrupt. Furthermore, software-based inventions provided economies of scale, breadth, and externality benefits. In reality, the transformation of mobile phone handsets into software devices lies at the heart of the emergence of smartphones as a disruptive breakthrough. False beginnings of smartphone evolution as disruptive innovation, Simon IBM's. The introduction of Motorola's Dynatac in 1984 marked a watershed moment in the long evolution of cell phones. This apparatus weighing 2 pounds and costing $3,995, equivalent to $9,831 in 2019, was considered rudimentary and pricey by today's standards. However, the rapid advancement of silicon technology and lithium-ion batteries provided an opportunity to make the product better, lighter, and less expensive. Although the mobile phone was primarily an electronic device for making voice calls, IBM saw the chance to bundle other complementing services into it, making it a versatile device. This resulted in the transformation of cell phones into smartphones, and the following introduction of Simon in 1994. Simon integrated his phone and PDA into a single gadget. It enabled users to make and receive phone calls, faxes, emails, and cellular pages. The addition of pre-installed software apps for the calendar, address book, notepad, maps, stocks, and news was a significant step forward in cell phone innovation. In fact, Simon introduced a new era in the history of cell phones, the smartphone age. However, IBM was dissatisfied with the sales figures. In comparison to the sale of millions of PDA and cell phone units, the sale of 50,000 Simon units in the first year severely eroded IBM's managers' faith. Instead of developing successively improved versions in order to increase sales, IBM pulled the product off the market. In retrospect, that was a disastrous decision. It was a mistake since we didn't focus on constantly developing and delivering better versions to turn a loss-making start into magic. The natural propensity of monopoly was fueled by economies of scale, scope, and the externality effect. Innovators focused on replacing existing hardware functions with software, implementing new software-centric features to make cell phones better and cheaper. Cell phones became general-purpose computers as silicon technology advanced, and the architecture of cell phone-specific central processor units improved. In contrast to electronics, operating systems and a collection of software applications began to dominate cell phone innovation. By the late 1990s, mobile phones had evolved into software-intensive smartphones, allowing for greater scalability due to the low cost of copying software. This scaling impact is key to changing a startup's loss-making journey into a profitable one. Furthermore, the continual progress of lithium-ion batteries ensured that the energy requirements of expanding computational requirements were met. On the one hand, the zero cost of copying software is a significant benefit. Software-centric improvements also provided the ability to obtain scope economies. As a result, developers began building smartphone characteristics to make it ideal for serving the goals of other individual goods, such as PDAs. Because of this ease of convergence, the smartphone has become one of the most prominent examples of disruptive technology. Externality influences such as the availability of content for use by smartphones, as well as the development of high-performance mobile broadband connectivity, began to accelerate the evolution. As a result, at the beginning of the 21st century, commercial strategies for boosting appeal and monopolizing the smartphone sector began driving smartphone advancement through software-centric innovations. As a result, it has spread over all client categories as a succession of wavelets. The rise of personal digital assistants and its interruption by the smartphone's progression. We saw the rise of personal digital assistants in the mid-1990s. These software-centric gadgets became quite popular for managing calendars and sending emails. Palm was a well-known PDA manufacturer. Psion released the first PDA, the Organizer, in 1984. Apple also released a personal digital assistant, PDA, called Newton. Many of those PDAs, such the Newton and Palm Pilot, omitted a keyboard in favor of a touchscreen. They relied on only a few buttons for user interactions, which were mainly allocated for shortcuts to frequently used programs. The user interacted with the device by tapping it to choose buttons or issue commands, or by dragging a finger, or the stylus, across the screen to make selections or scroll. To capitalize on the opportunity, Nokia developed the 9000 communicator, a PDA with digital cell phone features, in 1996, giving birth to the smartphone series. Nokia gradually began to imitate significant PDA features like as the touchscreen, pen, and complete QWERTY keyboard. PDA manufacturers, on the other hand, such as Palm and BlackBerry, began integrating cell phone modules to their popular models. However, due to scale and scope effects, PDA manufacturers were unable to compete with leading cell phone manufacturers such as Nokia. As a result, both PDAs and PDA manufacturers were affected by the disruptive effects of smartphone innovation. As an example, the success of mobile device markets has been systematically extracting value from the market, rather than experimenting with random ideas. The smartphone has evolved as a disruptive innovation to the digital camera, both still and video. The digital camera caused havoc for the film camera and its creator, Kodak. However, the success was fleeting. In order to capitalize on the scope advantage, Japan released the Kyocera VP210, the first cell phone with a built-in camera, in 1999. Soon after, smartphone manufacturers incorporated camera features. Compact plastic lenses began to appear alongside the advancement of camera sensor resolution. Smartphone markets took advantage of this and began to disrupt the compact still camera business. Smartphone manufacturers began to use more powerful processors to assist software advancements for collecting video images from the camera. As a result, the smartphone began to evolve in order to disrupt portable video cameras. Both digital cameras and their manufacturers suffered from disruption as a result of this transition. Smartphone makers continue to disrupt one after another device maker due to scale and scope advantages. As a result, cell phones have become one of the most prominent examples of disruptive innovation. The smartphone has emerged as a disruptive technology as a result of its software-centric approach to harnessing size and scope effect. It is now quite simple to add software functions or apps to cell phones, allowing them to serve as substitutes for a wide range of devices, including torchlights. A threat to portable radios, music players, and iPods. In order to expand the scope of the smartphone, developers began integrating radios and music players. On the one hand, the marginal cost of adding each of those functions to the smartphone was much lower than the cost of producing each of them separately. Convergence, on the other hand, provided users with greater convenience. As a result, the evolution of smartphones had a disruptive effect on individual manufacturers of portable radios and music players. It had such an impact that Steve Jobs became concerned about the iPod's future. It's a terrific example of how a great idea emerges from a flow of ideas. Aside from technology, competition has played a significant role in generating this flow. The force of competition has compelled all smartphone manufacturers, including Apple, to keep introducing successively better versions. As a result, the iPhone has become a seasonal crop. What made the first smartphone a disruptive technology? As previously stated, the smartphone began as a fusion of PDA and feature phones. As a result, the goal of smartphone development was to disrupt major products such as PDAs and feature phones. As a result, smartphones became a disruptive technology, powering a slew of disruptive innovations. As previously stated, the digital camera capability of smartphones, for example, has caused disruption to both still and video cameras. It has produced problems for portable music players, such as the iPod. Smartphones, as payment devices, have been causing disruption to a variety of financial service items. Smartphones, which have built-in crucial health monitoring functions, are also fueling apps that are creating disruption to numerous healthcare devices. Furthermore, the availability of a plethora of apps has broadened the reach of cell phones as a highly strong disruptive technology. Apple takes advantage of the natural tendency of the smartphone monopoly. As previously stated, the growing involvement of software has increased the economies of scale, scope, and externality effects on smartphone innovation. In addition, Apple implemented a third-party complementary application plugin feature. Following that, Apple launched the App Store and began promoting the app developer community. As a result, with the availability of an expanding number of apps on the App Store, the iPhone's perceived worth continued to rise. As a result, these effects are causing a natural monopoly tendency in the smartphone business. Apple is one of the most notable benefits of this fundamental feature. Apple has achieved this vital achievement as a result of the iPhone's sustaining innovation strategy. Following in Apple's footsteps, Google released Android OS, which mimicked iPhone features. Along with Samsung, numerous other smartphone manufacturers began to provide multi-touch user interface-based smartphones throughout time. The competition to add new features and improve current ones has also continued. As a result, Apple has been producing better versions after better versions. boosting screen size, increasing camera resolution, introducing extra cameras, adding photo and video enhancement tools, and offering folding screens are some of the most apparent. The smartphone's progress as a disruptive breakthrough appears to be inexorable. Innovators have transformed it into a software product during the previous 20 years, resulting in significant economies of scale, scope, and externality effects. Several items and their manufacturers have been disrupted as a result of evolution. The march has begun. The migration of services to the digital realm adds another chapter to the growth of smartphones as disruptive innovation.